is actually a company made out of the best shots of the armed forces, not only in Sri Lanka, all around the world. All what I earn, I put into this subject without asking a single rupee from the government to create a job opportunity for the X-Men in the world. Think that I am giving a job to the retired people is a crime, national crime. In that case you say, then I will address tomorrow and ask everyone to go home. Why should I do that? This is the job opportunity for the retired people. Is it a national crime in Sri Lanka? Today, at this moment, the government-owned weapons of Sri Lanka is kept under my armories, which is manned by the Ratnaka officials on board. I am an administrator. I am the business arm to Ratnaka. We are providing infrastructure. The weapons and the ammunition is controlled by Ratnaka, not by me. The ministers declared this matter at the parliament and the court. If I am not mistaken, 2 times. So they are praised for this particular job. This can't be known to people because my life is in danger.
To start off, Chairman, can you tell us a bit about the time you became the Chairman of Avant and the dealings of the firm since you became the Chairman? Like you told me in the last 2 years, what you had to do and what your dealings as the Chairman of Avant have been from the time you took over.
Right. Thank you very much for the question. Avant actually the name of a group of company. We have started 19 years back, security. Right. So that has been grown. We are given the best salaries and best possible welfare to the people, especially because this job is I'm talking about X-Men who had been who had fought for this country. My market in Sri Lanka is limited. Reason, in Sri Lanka, they always look at the rupees and cents. So men who fought in the battle from the special forces do not like to work for a salary which is lesser than the unskilled labor. And security companies are, there are over 500 odd security companies are there, therefore the company is very high, so we can't keep the market, the price. So therefore the soldiers do not like it. Then the soldiers actually join the undue elements and creating a problem in this country, looting, maybe raping, killing, undertaking contracts, the assassination people, selling them. So I felt so sorry by being a special force officer, the army commander officer. These men who fought for this country at the end of the day, the government has with no choice to send a team and to say they went to see, they got killed. I mean, like these people, like I could say Chineo, some top level people who have been trained. It is actually the government is to be blamed. When the war is over, they didn't have a plan. They didn't expect them to for the war to be finished soon. Once it's been paid, they did their best, but they could not be the real best. And these people are left around. And they didn't have a job opinion. They didn't like to work, to wear a normal uniform when they had all the badges trained from all the special forces of the world, being a free fallers, snipers, the divers, combat riders and all that. After that, put a normal shirt to come and work as a security guard and to getting lagaded every day from the people who comes into the this thing. They felt so sometimes they cried. Sometimes they could not bear. So I knew this is my limit is over in this country. Then I went to some other countries, Dubai, to start the security at the Dubai airport. Because of the recessions, which I feel I lost hundreds of millions, I had to come back. Lots of money I failed. Before I come back, then I thought, what else I can do in this world? This happened in the beginning. Then I saw the potential in the piracy. But I did not know what is this piracy. I heard but not know the deal. This was in the hands of actually British and Americans at the time. So I wrote the first letter in the 2009 to Mr. Ban Ki-moon with a 52 pages of a proposal. The offer the government of Sri Lanka can give since soon after the war for the contribution of anti-piracy. But there was no response. Reason I knew when my letter went down there, after reading my letter, some people had shut it down. Why? Because they didn't want, at the time with the blame came to Sri Lanka about this after the war, human rights matters to give it to us. But I did not give up. After writing that letter, I started studying about the anti-piracy and the law of the sea and the UN resolutions and all matters pertaining to this subject. It took me 1.5 years. We had advisors from the Harvard university who has a PhD on the law of the sea. Then one of my board of directors is Oman Navy Commander. He is a member of UN committee plus he has a master in the law of the sea. So likewise, we have 3 naval commanders, 2 chief of defense staff, then one of the Indian admirals who's in the Indian Navy retired. All these people are together. This is actually a company is being made out of the best shots of the armed forces, not only in Sri Lanka, all around the world. I have the Navy SEALs advisors, I have the SBS advisors, I have the Royal Mines from the advisor from the Royal Marines, the best shots. So this is a world organization. Second, only to Blackwater and Triple Canopy, United States. Right. So then I want to create, with my hard work, all what I earn, I put into this subject without asking a single rupee from the government to create a job opportunity for the X-Men in the world. And actually, country should contribute to me rather than not the country. I must not blame the government officials, not the country, individuals who could not make money out of me, who could not get the undue benefits from me is making an issue. Not the government, not the officials, and they knew this, they know that this subject is very important to this country, because otherwise these men, once they've been trained in the war, when they fought for the war, when they come out, if they don't have a job, what kind of a situation the country has to face? That will be a serious threat to the country when they are unemployed. I wrote a letter then to the Minister of Defence. At the time, Ratnalanka, the company which belonged to the Ministry of Defence, did not start the maritime arm. I'm the first person who wrote the letter to the Ministry of Defence, and it was not given the protection of the ship security, the commercial ships, to the long liners. That is the ships, trawlers which goes to stay in the long days in the sea, 8 to 1 year period, to provide the security close to Somalia, 200 nautical miles away. In fact, it is in the most dangerous zone to provide security for this particular ship. It's a very deep subject. We had a person who had a qualification of the maritime as a maritime biologist. He was doing this business earlier. Some foreign country, European countries provided security. So I talked to him very personally. This took 1 year. We had exchanged more than 350 emails to comments. When I sent this particular letter on the 2010, the Ratnalanka Limited has not started this job. So after I sent my letter, Ratnalanka started this job in somewhere around March.
Didn't anti-piracy operations start in 2009?
Anti-piracy operations started in the world, not in Sri Lanka. By the time this particular people, the companies who's operating, they came to Sri Lanka in 2010, I think. Under the MOD, they gave a permission as a stopgap at the time for the Navy to take the weapons of those people to keep in Sri Lankan territory, and for the Sea Marshal to do. Nowhere in the world today, Navy is handling these private maritime companies' issues, because it's very complicated, so many laws involved, so many international rules involved. You do mistake, it's a serious step, because a different weapons comes into the country, the land, it can sense more complication and effect to the national security. At the time, this required a shipping license to do a maritime security. So we didn't have one. So before me, Sri Lankan shipping companies of 24 started this job, not having any knowledge of what's a OBST, onboard security team operations, not knowing much of the law, lots of company about the law of the sea, armor regulations, best management practices and many things. They continue to do this ship protection by giving Ratnalanka personnel and weapons which belong to government of Sri Lanka. Made a serious mess. After about 8 months, we lost tracks of 100 and almost 200 weapons.
Who made this serious mess?
The private security companies of Sri Lanka, maritime security companies, those are shipping companies, not having any senior officers who has a knowledge of weapon discipline, weapon management and weapon control system. So we actually at the time, I was advising Ratnalanka, this is wrong, don't do this, we will be in a serious mess. By the time we were started going around the world to learn this subject, I spent my own, but we are not given a chance to do this subject. Ratnalanka started 24 companies for a period of almost a year. And once the mist is being done, lost of 200 weapons, as a letter came from John Rockford, head of UN missions on armed embargo in Eritrea and Somalia. Very important that we have lost some weapons. The government owned weapons are when we lost, it's a serious matter, questioning the government. Then we were talking to the government about this subject and the government had sent a letter. Government did not have to secure the weapons once it leaves Sri Lanka, which belong to government of Sri Lanka. Okay?
So the government didn't have a way of securing weapons once it left Sri Lanka?
It is been hired to the foreign security company. They take these weapons and go and keep in their armories, land-based armories, civilian places and different floating armories. And what they did was, after the man, the custodian came back who carried the weapons on behalf of the government, when we fly back, they reuse these weapons, re-rented and misuse and earn money. That's a serious offense. Right. Then, lucky, we spoke to some company called Gag Shipping in Ocean. We asked from them to be a sub-agent because we didn't have the shipping license. So then we used to also have used to get the security like other 24 companies from the the Pataraka, send them into the sea, having contract, subcontract, but we have shipping. And we were harping on the first letter we said about the long liner fishing. It is different from the commercial liners operations. So commercial liner means that is a cargo carrying ship that they put 4 people on security on board. They go point to point, maximum journey about 15 to 20 days. The long liner is you get in from Colombo Harbour, stay in the sea close to Somalia, 200 nautical miles from the Somalian land, stay for a period of years. Very difficult, very risky, dangerous job. So we were harp on this matter to give the chance to us. At the time, this commercial line operation, the goods carriers, security were provided by the top of the armed forces of the world, especially British and Americans and Europeans. So then we got lucky after many 40 to 50 meetings held with the Ministry of Defence and the Ratnanaka, they barely managed to give us a pilot project for 3 months on a fishing trawler update. And when I went there, I didn't know how to do, but I took a challenge. I went, there were no insurance. I promised to give my people, if they die, 10 million each from my hand. So the commandos and some special forces people went on board. We have never done these operations. So lucky, once we went to the sea, our great soldiers had done a great job. They were never scared. They are the heroes, our brave men, fought against the Somalian pirate and chased them out and attempted, and they repulsed many attacks. And then our name went on immediately to all these countries who does the long line operations. Within 4 months, we have 200 ships with 700 on board. To date, we run these operations. That's the largest force even UN did not deploy in front of the Somalia. We are deployed. And actually, we have contributed 80% to shut down the Somalian pirates, not the others, unofficially. Because for that, these people to come to the main shipping line route to attack, they have to bypass, they have to pass me and come, my line of defense. There are some companies of around the world operated 20%. So those are not legal, so they're not professional trained. We operated 80%. So when we became a success, then the government understood that we could do something. Then I signed a contract since I was a brainchild, this business only for me because I bought it. And we start giving the profit to the government, I think a month about 20 million rupees, which is one of the largest lump sums the government got without spending 1 cent. Then we managed to get the shipping license to operate on our own, not the long liner, commercial liner. By the time the second letter, so after I told that we have been successful and deployed 700 men there, the UN officials recognized us because I used to visit Djibouti on and off. That is the place where all the entire UN NATO forces, UN forces, task force 151, 150 is being deployed at Djibouti. So I used to go around with them, talk to them, to learn a lot of things from them. So we had a very good rapport with the UN security force of anti-piracy operations. Whereas no Sri Lankans or the government of Sri Lanka or Navy or anybody has that contacts, only me.
Jehan, according to you, how it went is that the government had certain misgivings and certain faults on their part, and they were, I mean, weapons were lost, and there's a lot of unaccountability.
I'll tell you that. The head of mission of Arm Embargo Committee directly addressed a letter to me because they were not satisfied with the government answer. Then I knew it's going to be a bad, serious issue. Then I spoke to the government. I said, now you have not listened to us. It's going to be a serious offense. Our weapons have been misused, hired, re-rented by a security company. These are serious offenses. The government only opened the eyes at the time because we cannot blame the government. They even did not know. This was done. Most of our private security companies, not everybody, say 75%, who wants to make money out of this business, not knowing the seriousness of issues of when a weapon falls wrong and what could happen.
Exactly. How did these weapons come to be misused or hired?
Why? Because when it's been left around some other country in a floating armor in a ship, not under control of ours, so they can do whatever they want.
And there's no security feature?
Nothing. I mean, that is under. I am giving my weapon to you to keep at your home, so you can do whatever you want. But after that, I'm to be, because why I kept it there, right? So then the second letter directly UN addressed. So in the first time in the history, the UN does address a letter to a private security company. To me, because I had 700 men deployed in the Somalian ground, because we have contributed a lot. They understood my capability, not our company capability. I used to go to Djibouti more than 10-15 times, and I used to go and talk with the UN, the officials, the UN forces who's engaged in this particular problem. So I had a great rapport. They respect me. So the government, none of the Sri Lankan people, the government have ever been to Djibouti on this summit, only me and our company personnel. So then, when I told them, the government got little upset about this, not upset that they were worried. They said, can you help us? Because at the time, I established my name in the country that we are doing the right things. Then I said, of course, give me a letter, I'll go and find these weapons and come. I went to 26 countries, spent about 32 million, before this happened, after I got the letter, the UN Arm Embargo Committee had written this to UN Security Council, almost to be blacklisted government of Sri Lanka. They said hundreds of governments on Sri Lankan weapons are lost tracks. It's a serious matter, right? I went abroad, collected 181 weapons out of 195 with my own money. I went to travel. I used to hire the boats and go to the different ships which was in the sea, and used to contact the officials of Sri Lanka through the embassies, collected this weapon and came there, me and my team. Today there are some missing, 14 weapons are misplaced, okay? And once I bought the weapons, only the government wanted me to help them to have a system of having a facility for our Sri Lankan own weapons to be kept in outside the country. And they said they don't have money to spend. By the time I was making good money out of this fishing troll operations, long line. We have spent 260 million at the time, launched 2 ships to keep weapons at the Red Sea, first is at the Oman, Gulf of Oman and the Red Sea. Plus we had the land-based armory. If not those destinations, if the weapons go to some other to keep the weapons in those. Remember, these 2 ships are manned by the RAL, Ratnalanka, Personnel for Security, and total control of the armory is under Ratnalanka, not under me. I can't move any weapon, any rounds. That's the agreement we have. That's called the public-private partnership.
It's now part of most of the contention, and why a lot of people have actually, why they raise their eyebrows and started thinking, why Avant Garde, is because, I mean, they have this contention that private security firms should not be handling matters of national security.
Who says so?
I mean, in certain instances, why, if there is a government entity and
government cannot handle the private security on boards.
No, that's the thing. Not to handle private security. Where if it's issues concerning national security, if there's already a body that's vested under the Ministry of Defense, which is Ratnalanka, that's handling these operations, why would a private security firm take this?
That's what they tried to handle and lost 195 weapons.
Sorry, that is the question.
Government can't go to another country to obtain license to keep weapons, then they have to go to the parliament and get so many approvals and more than. They handled before us, that's what I said, for a period of a year, lost 200 numbers of weapons. That's a serious offense. Understand? So I'm the one who helped the country to have this weapons. Today, at this moment, the government-owned weapons of Sri Lanka is kept under my armories, which is manned by the Ratnanaka officials on board. Every land-based armory is not armory means the weapons are kept in that particular country's the customs or the police, not the navy. So our people with Ratnanaka is the one who control all this. I am paying their salaries. Today I am paying for all these floating armories. If I withdraw tomorrow, this operation is zero. Who is going to spend this 260 million? A month I have to spend $700,000. Can the government stand? Today, if I withdraw my facility, this operation is finished and the business finished for the street.